all the single ladies, all the single, no, I'm just kidding. But if you are a single lady, then this video is for you. Or if you are a friend of a single lady who is just single and miserable, then this video is for you to share with them. I wanted to do this video because there are so many women who are single and really unhappy, and they attribute their singleness to personal deficits. They, sometimes will say things like, I'm such a good cook, I'm so educated, I would make a fantastic mother, I'm great with kids, why am I still single? Or this woman doesn't even know how to cook, how did she get a husband? We attribute singleness or being married to personal strengths and weaknesses, or if we're married, we got it, and if we're not married, we don't. And that's not a really healthy view to have of marriage and just, of singleness, I'm sorry. But just a year ago, I definitely had that view. And so I wanted to do this video because I feel as though, this time last year, I was single, had just gone through a breakup, and I was not happy about it. Like, I really wanted to be in a relationship. I really wanted to be married. It's still a desire of mine to eventually be in a relationship that leads to marriage, but it's not something that presses me. It's not something that makes me sad or depressed. And I wanted to do this video because I just wanted to share some of the good things that have happened within this season of being single. I know sometimes we see videos of women who are currently married, or engaged or dating, and it's easy for them to talk about, or we think it's easy for them to talk about being single because now they have arrived. But I thought it would be beneficial for me to do this video as a single woman before someone snatches up all this favor, right, sitting over here, so that men can see like there is joy to be found. There is happiness within the single season. And if you notice the title, it is the Solitude of Singleness. And when I was trying to figure out how do I describe the word solitude, I actually discovered that one of the synonyms of solitude is wilderness. And that made me think back to when prophets were preparing to go into ministry as a prophet, they were called into the wilderness to be away from society, to be away from things, right? So that God could pour into and instruct them to prepare them for the ministry of prophecy. Even think about it when Jesus was here on earth. When he needed to go and pray to God and hear from God, he would leave the crowds and go by himself. Think about some of the leaders in the Bible. Moses, when they went to go get instruction from God, they had to remove themselves from whatever they were in. And I have looked at this, I've come to view my single season as just that, where God has taken me out of the dating scene, to really prepare me, to really help me to evaluate some of the things that I've been doing, some of the brokenness. And it wasn't that he was just preparing me for marriage. He was just preparing me for ministry and the things that he has called me to do. And I needed to come out of the season of dating and being around, someone who had the potential to throw me off track so that God could pour into me. And in this single season, I found so much healing and so much peace and so much freedom. And so I just want to talk about some of the benefits of the solitude of singleness to try to, appeal to some of my ladies out there who are single and find themselves unhappy being single. Okay, so one of the first benefits of being single, it's a silly one, but it's real. There's only one calendar that you have to try to coordinate. You can be a get up and go girl at the drop of a hat because there's not someone else's schedule or, inclusion that you have to consider. You can just get up and do as you please. The holidays are hard enough. Like, I am a product of divorced parents, and so half of my family is in Northern California, the other half is in Southern California, and I live in Virginia. And it's hard enough for me to try to figure out, well, when I fly into California, do I fly into Northern and drive to Southern, or do I fly into Southern and drive to Northern, or catch another flight? Like, that's already a headache within itself for just me doing it by myself. So eventually I understand I'm gonna have to, have a mate and coordinate those schedules. But right now, now that I just have my own calendar, I realize I actually am a really busy person, and I'm gonna have to be intentional about making time to date and structuring it in such a way that I don't end up neglecting the things that are important to me. Another also included in that is you know, holiday season is coming up. I don't have to worry about buying nobody no expensive gifts. I mean, outside of my parents and siblings, like, you know, you want to impress they and get them something nice. And so, you know, when you're single, you don't have to do that. Buy yourself something nice. Go get you a new bag or a new perfume. And then you also don't have to do those awkward family moments. I mean, if you end up with someone that you end up loving their family, that's super great. But it's been my experience that I've had some families that I've just been like, gosh, we gotta go over there for Thanksgiving. How long we gonna be there? When we gonna leave? But when you're single, you don't have to do any of that. But another benefit, the second benefit that I would say of being single, this is a bit more serious, that you really do get to learn about yourself. It's a time where you are just focusing on you. You discover hobbies that you have. I know I was in a relationship for like 4.5 years, and they were on a basketball team. And so much of my life was wrapped up in, you know, going to basketball games and doing things with the team, that when I became single, I was like, well, I don't really know what I enjoy doing. So I've been able to like find different hobbies of mine. I've found that I love to cook and make up recipes and try new recipes. And I love to sightsee and just try things that, you know, girls like me, little black girls, don't do. And in my singleness, I've found new hobbies and new interests, and I've been able to chase those. And so like when I do end up in a relationship, I don't have to, you know, sometimes as women, like we have a boyfriend and we're like, I just want to be with you all the time. And a lot of times that's because we ain't got nothing else better to do. We don't have anything else fun. Whereas now, you know, when I do end up dating someone, it's like, okay, you know, we can hang, but I do have plans on Saturday, so maybe it's, you know, we're not too available all the time. And I don't mean that in like playing a mind games kind of way. It's just that when you know, a man will want a woman to have a life of their own, because men are a little bit more independent in that regard, where they don't necessarily need us to be up under them all the time. So get some business of your own, get some hobbies of your own, find some interests of your own, and do that. And the last thing that I would say that I never even considered doing until I became in this single season is actually learn about being single and learn about dating. And we're going from one relationship to the next, we kind of just end up accepting things from partners. But I think that I read a couple books, The Right One, 25 Ways to Prepare for Marriage While Being Single, and I just like looked at little tips. Not everything in them was 100% for me, but I think I have found like my groove of dating, certain things that I do want to deal with and things that I don't want to deal with. But you help to create those for yourself in this single season, because you learn so much about yourself, and you learn what things you need and things that you want as a woman, and not from that broken place, but just from a woman. These are the things that I need. These are the things that I will deal with. These are things that I'm not going to deal with. Whereas when you're actually in a relationship, you kind of just deal with those things because they come, and you just want to be with someone. Think about this time as like, you know, on the job training, like when you are a cashier or you work in a call center, on day one of work, they don't put you on the register or put you right on the phones, right? You go through training where you pretend like you're taking a call, or, you know, you pretend like you're ringing up a cash register. You're going through the steps of figuring out how to do it so that when you do it, you know, it's done correctly. And it's the same thing like creating a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Same thing with dating. Create what your dating strategies are going to look like. When you date, where are you going to give your phone number? Are you going to give an email? So yeah, the being single, you get to actually plan for what that is going to look like, instead of just going rogue when it actually happens. Yeah, I had to add this little black curtain behind me because I was like fading into the walls. Like my walls are beige, my sweater is beige, but whatever. So the third benefit of being single, and is my absolute favorite, is you begin to shed baggage. You begin to become whole. I found my completion through Christ, and because I wasn't dating, because I wasn't so focused on making someone else happy or meeting their needs, I really became my own focus. And through finding completion, the Lord just began to allow me to discover some of the healing that needed to take place within me. Some of the reasons why I wanted to be in a relationship so badly wasn't necessarily for the purpose of being a helpmate or to, procreate, or any of the reasons that the Bible tells us to select a mate. It literally was just to deal with some of the insecurities, some of the past hurts that I had, that I was so busy being in a relationship, I didn't even realize they were there. And through this single season, God allowed me to discover, I do have, I want to be accepted. I don't want to feel lonely. Those were some of the reasons why I was dating, which left a lot of open doors, because then I was open to people that I shouldn't have been open to just because I wanted to fill a certain need. But God began to fill those needs, and I was able to close some of those doors. So it just became harder for a man with bad intentions to get through those doors. So I haven't closed myself off completely so that the right one can't get in. I had to find this delicate balance, and it had to involve a season of not being with someone to figure that out. Because if I had someone in the back of my ear, they would have been affecting that. They would have been putting their 2 cents in, when I really just needed to be in this season with just God, and He was affirming me and He was making me complete. And it also made me a lot more confident. Like, I just began to believe what the Word said about me and who the Word of God says that I am. And I just began to really just stand firm in that and be confident in that. And I began to like myself a lot more. And which brings me to the 4th benefit of, really embracing the single season, is you become able to spot foolishness from a mile away. Like, when you become healed and whole, you're able to recognize things that are not going to produce healing, and you begin to see when a man, like, I can't even really put it into words, but like you know when a man is saying something because he's just trying to get you wrapped around his finger. I'm so sensitive to it now. Like, I can really detect that. And because I have had to fight for this healing and to become whole, and it's been such a hard journey, that I'm less likely to allow someone to come in and mess that up. Like, I've been single. I know that it doesn't kill me. I know that I've become a strong person. So because there's not that pressure to be with someone, when I see someone and I see a red flag, it's easier for me to just be like, you know what, thank you for your interest. This just really is not going to work for me. God bless you, and move on. Whereas before, when I just really, really needed to be with someone, I would be like, okay, I'll let that thing slide. Especially because I was someone, like, I'm not easily impressed, and it took me a lot to like someone. So when I actually found someone, and then they presented a red flag, it was like, oh my goodness, like, it took me this long to find him, so I better just I can deal with this. But when you are in this space, you can spot the foolishness and be like, nope, you know what, I ain't dealing with it. Bye, thank you. But yeah, like, it's so liberating, and it's so freeing, and it really takes that pressure off of dealing with things just because you want to be with someone. So I said all of this basically just to appeal to my single ladies out there who are single and miserable or unhappy, or in a cycle of serial dating, dating someone, 2 months later dating someone else. This is a clear sign that you just need to take a beat. Stop. Don't do it. Stop dating and really just date yourself. Let Jesus be your boo. Just figure out what is God trying to pour into you during this season. It's a reason relationships keep on failing you, and it's not necessarily that there's something wrong with you. It's just that God just may be wanting to pour into you, and be sensitive to that. Some of you may be being like, well, I've been single for a year, single for 2 years, but how single have you been? Like, have you been single as in I don't have a boyfriend, but I am entertaining men, or I'm entertaining someone who I know that is not the one, but I'm just entertaining him because I don't want to have to be not entertained. I don't want my phone to be dry. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, when I say that I'm single, like, there was no one during that season. There was no one calling my phone. There was no I wasn't entertaining people. Were there blasts from the past who would try to pop up? Of course, there always are, unless you change your phone number. But like, I was single for real. That's what I used to tell people. Like, I'm the real type of single. And I actually am proud that when I do meet someone, when God does place me in the path and I am found, that I can actually say that, you know, like, this is what you get. Like, I don't have nobody. I don't need to cancel my other boos and then be like, let's deal with this. Like, no, you have my undivided attention because I'm single for real. And if you're not single for real, then you really can't embrace this process. This process is going to seem daunting. You have to have a right attitude towards it. You have to go into this saying, I'm doing this single season so that I can be better for myself and then for my future mate. You can't go into it with a bad attitude. And also, you can't think, I know some of you probably are watching this video and like, that doesn't apply for me. I can be dating and also find purpose and also hear from God. And if that was the case, you probably wouldn't be single anymore. But that's neither here nor there. But anyways, I just really encourage you to embrace the solitude of singleness, find healing, find completion, find you.